Now, let's go on to the bugs. The bugs, they want us to eat the bugs. So much is developing in this food war. Let's go into the food. Let's talk about diet. Let's talk about frankenfoods. And of course, we will get to cannibalism. But first, let's go to the current story on this, September 2022. And let's go to Australia. Australia seems to be really leading the way in a lot of this stuff. A lot of the propaganda, we saw the amazing job they did in getting the entire country to comply. Well, a lot of the country to comply to this biosecurity. Of course, it's a small, perfect size population similar to South Korea, great testing ground, etc. Also part of the Five Eyes movement. We understand this is really just an arm of the Israel intelligence, or should we say Israel banking powers, pretty much with the Five Eyes as, you know, puppets on a string. And it's interesting what's transpired in this country. Unfortunately, we're seeing similar behavior in Germany, of course, New Zealand and Canada. Probably the leader in it all is Canada. Shout out to Canada. And again, it's not all of these countries, it's aspects of these countries, but they have influence, and that can't be denied. So let's go to today on Circle Harvest on today. Yeah, Australia. Insect protein farming. This is the new synthetic food. Will it be a danger to the population's health? I think it will. What say you?
Okay, are you ready for breakfast?
Yes, Carl, that is the sound of our next snack. Could you hear that? Insects. They're the creepy crawlies in our backyards, taking the leap into mainstream supermarket shelves. For years, there's been a buzz around the nutritional benefits of eating insects. Now, products like cricket, corn chips and lemon myrtle mealworms are becoming commonplace, believe it or not. When it comes to
Are they becoming commonplace, believe it or not? This is social engineering, guys. When you have mainstream media outlets, also known as things like Mockingbird Media. We understand that's an American thing. But again, Five Eyes, all being heavily influenced by American intelligence, Hollywood, etc. They will have the same practices, and they're all under the same umbrella. But here we are, convincing us through their mainstream media smiley faces and chipper voices that this is the future of food.
farming, they're a sustainable food source. The bugs take up very little space and release lower greenhouse gas emissions than traditional livestock. And while 80% of the world's population already consume the tiny critters as part of their everyday diet, for some Aussies, getting past the ick factor is the biggest challenge.
I don't know, I'm going to have trouble getting past the ick factor. For more, joined by Sky Blackburn from the Ick Bug Shop. No, it's Edible Bug Shop. Hey, Sky.
How are you?
For a while you've been farming crickets and insects for about 15 years. How do you get into this kind of work?
Well, I'm actually a food scientist and an entomologist, which is a bug scientist.
Super smart.
Not that smart. But a long time ago now, I was doing a project and learning about insect proteins. So I sent away some crickets and mealworms for nutritional testing in a lab. And when I got the results back, I was actually shocked that no one was eating them as a source of food. They were just so nutrient dense.
Really? What sort of nutrients? Sorry.
She said nutrient dense. No. Red meat, grass-fed, properly raised beef, red meat is nutrient dense. Okay. Not cricket legs. Okay. Now, this is not only allegedly nutrient dense, but it's dense in another way, actually. In fact, let's let me check this here. Nutrient dense. You know, first off, we have to go to, again, studies, statistics, grain of salt, always. But there's plenty of evidence that would suggest these proteins are actually very dangerous for human consumption. Now, this is one article here, National Library of Medicine, NIH, a parasitological evaluation of edible insects and their role in the transmission of parasitic diseases to humans and animals, right? Animal-based products and animal foods, fats and proteins are a natural part of the human being's existence. It's literally part of our nature and biology. If one chooses not to eat those things, that's fine. Lifestyle, culture, I understand that. India, for instance, I get it, right? But once you start telling people what they can't eat, that's when the problem comes in. People can eat what they want, how they want, but once you start telling people what they cannot eat and what they have to eat as an alternative, that's when things get a little bit crazy. Okay, so I don't really care what anyone eats, but don't think for a second you can tell me what I can't eat. And don't think for a second you're going to convince me that insects and synthetic factory processed technological foods are more nutrition dense than animal fats and proteins. Miss me with that. Now, let's continue. Results. Prevalence. Parasitic development forms were detected in 244, 81.33% out of 300 examined insect farms. And in 206 of the cases, 68%, the identified parasites were pathogenic for insects only. In 106 cases, 35%, parasites were potentially parasitic for animals. And in 91 cases, 30%, parasites were potentially pathogenic for humans. Okay, so this is clear. And who knows if these numbers are correct? But based on their numbers, 30% was pathogenic to humans. Let's just say 30% of all of this bug meat that they're putting out in the world, 30% of it is possibly deadly or dangerous to humans. Imagine the fallout. Imagine. But it's for the climate. See, we're going to adjust the human species to the climate. We're going to change humanity for climate change. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Whole lot of sense. Now, of course, where are they starting this? They're starting it in the schools, and they're going after the kids, as always, just like they did with the EUA, getting those jabs into all those little arms. Well, they are starting the children off with their special bug products as well. Check it out, man.
Yeah. Adelaide, what do you think of the chips? They're yum. Chips are great, aren't they? And these chips are even better because I think they're better for you. Did you know that? Yeah, that way, you know, Mum and Dad might let you have more chips. Good stuff. Do you like them, Annabelle? Do you like them? Yeah, they're great.
What do you like best about them, Amy? What do you like best, Amy?
These poor kids, they're just chowing down, you know. It's the texture. Kids are about texture. Kids love texture. They love sweet texture, crunchy. They're chips to them. I wouldn't be surprised if these kids didn't even know that they were eating crickets. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't know. And if you were to tell these kids, hey, you know, these chips are made out of crickets, they'd probably spit them up. Probably.
How much powder it has? You know how much powder it has?
Yeah. Can you taste the crickets? Did you know?
I guess that was his response to the crickets. And look at, they're continuing to eat them. I stand corrected.
They're made from crickets? Did you know they're made from little insects?
No.
No, but can you taste it? No, you can't. It tastes like normal CCs, doesn't it?
Just like they tell us with the Beyond Burgers and the Beyond Meat, it tastes just like chicken, or it tastes just like beef, doesn't it? It tastes just like Doritos, doesn't it?
What did you say, Adelaide?
I can taste the cricket.
You can taste the crickets.
This one has lots of
The crickets taste good? Yeah, let's eat some more crickets. That's what the C stands for in the chips, crickets. Good stuff, guys.